play. Hello, Elena. How are you? What's showing up for you today?
Hi, Jenna. I'm doing pretty good today. I did the exercise activity that you asked me to work on.
Oh, let me hear about your experience with it.
Well, I kind of look, excuse me, I kind of looked at it as like being on a train platform and watching different trains go by. Um, and so I did like to put a name to them. I would be like, oh, I want some tea, or oh, the baby kicked. Um, I did happen to notice when I would think about the baby, it brought on a lot of anxiety. Um, those thoughts seemed to make me very anxious, whereas other thoughts did not. And I think it's because I was overthinking. I would start overthinking my emotions. The baby kicked. Well, good. I'm glad she's happy, but why am I not more excited? You know?
Then you would start to worry about how you felt about it. And you noticed it was linked to the anxiety feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many do you think during that time were baby thought? Like, just to give it a crazy percentage.
I kind of surprised myself. Actually had a lot of thoughts about the baby throughout the day. I would say if I had to give it a percentage and we just ballpark it, maybe 60% of my thoughts throughout the day had to do with the baby.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And when you noticed them, it sounds like you had two types. You had your first initial thought, which always leans towards this excitement of having a baby. And then you notice sort of a back current, if I'm correct, that feels more like a worry or a dread or sadness, like low grade.
Yeah, just kind of like that feeling of like, so just an example, like when my friend's baby first kicked or was kicking, she would be so excited about it and she'd be like, oh my gosh, she's kicking. And she just want everybody to know. And that hasn't really been me. Like I told my husband when he was with me, like, hey, do you want to feel the baby kick? But my first thought when she does it is, oh, she's moving. She seems happy. Um, but then that kind of kicks into, shouldn't I feel more excited about this? Shouldn't I be more excited that she's kicking and she's healthy? And then it just kind of spirals on, honestly, into like a feeling of anxiety and then going into those thoughts of, am I going to be a good mom? What's wrong with me? Um, yeah, just kind of goes into a spiral.
Leads to a spin out.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to shake that, it sounds like. And it kind of sticks with you from there.
Yeah.
Everybody's experience is different with pregnancy. There's a whole range of responses. It just struck me that yours seem particularly unforgiving. Do you find that you're hard on yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My whole life.
No?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, I feel like as mothers, you know, there are, and I do agree with you, Jenna, that there are many different experiences with pregnancy, but all we tend to hear about as mothers in the media and everywhere else are the positives, the happies, the, oh, motherhood's wonderful, pregnancy's wonderful, you should enjoy every moment. And even though, as my own person, I know that's not always the case, nor is it even always the norm. Um, it can't, it, it just makes you feel lesser than, and I've always been very self-conscious, growing up and just very aware of if I'm different from other people or feeling different or experiencing something differently. And I guess it just makes me feel kind of alienated, almost a little bit alone, because I haven't met anyone that's really dealt with this and feels the way I feel, and so I just kind of fake it till I make it. I don't want people to worry about me.
It sounds like you're really concerned with doing a good job, doing it the way it should be done for yourself, but you're also sound very loving and kind to the people around you, but potentially at the expense of sharing your real thoughts and feelings.
Well, yeah, you don't ever want to burden anybody. That's we want to take care of it ourselves. So, I don't want to burden anyone. Just like when I do have my daughter, like I wouldn't want to burden anyone with her. I want to be able to care for her myself, and that's one thing that influenced me to come to therapy was I want to be okay for her so that I don't have to rely so much on others to help me.
That's an incredible value to have, to know that it's important to you to be strong and independent. And those are all great things. I'm wondering if you've also, though, given some thought to the value of self-care, uh, um, being a little bit more patient, and kind to yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. I consider self care just getting sleep. I don't really do
I hear you.
much for myself.
Yes.
I work and I tend to just kind of focus more on the other people around me instead of focusing really on me. I guess there's a part of focusing on myself that's uncomfortable.
Yes. I understand that. You feel like it's important to be independent and strong and capable. That makes a lot of sense. And you care about the people around you, I'm sorry, care about the people around you. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I'm curious, what happens when you need to share something with somebody? When you decide to share how you're feeling? How does that play out?
Well, I feel like I don't do a lot of sharing with the other people. I mean, I do talk to my husband, but like I said, he just wants to fix things. So it's hard. I don't want to burden him with my emotions. And like I said, I don't want him to worry. So
Sure.
he will just want to figure out how he can fix it. What can he do to fix it? And, you know, I, he wants to be Bob the Builder, but, I'm not construction. I don't feel like I need fixing. I just need a little bit more support. And my friends, like, my best friend, sometimes I open up to her, but then I worry about what she's thinking about me and if she's just giving me reassurance because she feels like that's what she's supposed to do, or if she thinks I'm a complete freak and something's wrong with me.
Yes. Yes. You're worried that they're just one, your husband goes into problem solving mode, which ironically isn't very helpful most of the time, is it? Because oftentimes we just need to vent, just need to share those feelings. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling like something's wrong with me because I'm not feeling better than the way I feel. Um, and sometimes we just need somebody to hear those things, acknowledge them, not solve those problems for us. I get that. And your value of being independent has made it so that maybe sometimes you don't want to share things with your friends, depending on where they are in their life, or you think it might be helpful at the time and all that. Now,
Yeah.
all that makes a ton of sense. I wonder if you would be willing. Here, let me invite you to try something with me, if you don't mind. I have this activity, and it's a perspective taking activity. And it's really meant to think about um, putting those things that are important to us into perspective and our lives into perspective. And you're very guided by your values. Some would say maybe even at the cost of your own personal self nurturing. But let's do an activity that looks at that because you have so many strengths in that area. I'm going to start with a real quick sort of relaxation, grounding activity, and then we're going to go right into doing this activity together. This activity, again, it's pretty quick. It's called the 1 year from now activity. And what I'm going to ask you to do to start, if you don't mind, you okay doing it?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Okay. You're going to get comfortable in your chair, plant your feet firmly on the ground, roll your shoulders back and down just to get some of that tension out of your neck and shoulders. Take a deep breath for me. And now I'm going to ask you to either close your eyes or lower them to soft focus, whatever you're comfortable with. And I'm going to ask you to take one more deep breath. And I want you to feel a wave of relaxation, as though it's starting from the top of your head, rolling down across your shoulders. Relax your arms, torso, legs. Relax your feet on the floor. And I want you to imagine for me that it's 1 year from now. You're looking back from the future and you're looking back at this difficult time that you're having now. I want you to imagine and looking back to now from a year that you've handled it in the best possible way. You handled it behaving exactly like the person that you really want to be deep in your heart. And from that perspective, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. First question is, what qualities or strengths did you live by or act on during this difficult time?
Um, the strengths would be the fact that I am resilient and I never give up, that I am loving and compassionate and forgiving. Um, and I would just say that continuously open minded to evolve and work on myself.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Second question, how did you treat yourself as you dealt with this?
With grace, as you should, because not only was I pregnant, um, but I was dealing with a lot just in everyday life and mentally, and I handled myself with grace.
That's beautiful. Thank you. How did you treat people around you during this time?
With love and understanding. Um, Ideally, didn't push them out and let them in a little bit more into what I was feeling and my concerns. Um, Treated my partner more like a partner. Um, yeah.
That's great. Thank you. You can open your eyes, get comfortable in your chair again to kind of reconnect to the here and now. And I wonder if you could just share with me what that was like for you.
Um, it was relaxing. It was nice. It was relaxing. Um, I found it a little difficult to focus on future how things would look in the future and convince myself how realistic that was. But I also think it gives me hope because it kind of gives me a working of what I do want to see and the goals that I do have for myself.
Okay. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for being willing to do that with me. Now we're almost near the end of our time together. I just wanted to ask you if you'd be willing to do a homework activity between now and next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a quick and easy one. It's a build on from last week's activity, the noticing thoughts. But this time, you can't really do it on the fly as well. You'll need a quiet spot, which I know is hard to get in busy life, but maybe 3 to 5 minutes. This time, if you can close your eyes while you do it, maybe do that relaxation that we did at the beginning of this one, just to kind of get you there. This time, you're going to notice your thoughts again. This time, though, like you know how you started to name them last time? Brilliant. Do that again. And I want you to picture a clear blue sky with big white puffy clouds on them. And as you notice a thought, there's the thought that I'm not doing this as I should. There's the thought that I should be feeling better than I am. There's the thought that I'm having a baby and that's really cool. Name it, put it on a cloud, and then watch it drift across the sky. And just spend 3 to 5 minutes doing that, and I would love to hear what that's like for you next week.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jenna.